listening to Zap Night, a video game review podcast. Join your hosts as we review video games from all systems and all genres. Hey guys, you're listening to Zap Night. I'm your host, Danny.
I'm your co-host, Kaylie.
This is episode 67, and oops, that's the wrong one. I'm trying so hard. We are talking about Animal Crossing. So, first off, we're doing a live video today. I don't know how well it's going to work, but we tried. We have Animal Crossing playing in the background. That's actually Lori playing, so Lori's just going to be doing stuff while we're talking about Animal Crossing. To away from... I told myself I wasn't going to read the chat. So, anyway, yeah, so we have been playing Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. And, how's that been going, Kaylie?
Some of us more than others. I've played a little bit.
I finished it today. And, yeah, I was ready to record today. No, so what's going to happen is, I did finish Pokemon Diamond. Kaylie is going to finish Pokemon Pearl throughout next month. But in the meantime, we're going to be streaming a bunch of Animal Crossing New Horizons. Basically, I'm going to be doing some villager hunts. We're going to be doing some island walkthroughs of my island and Kaylie's island and Lori's island. We might do a few other like bits and pieces of stuff as we go. So, you know, it's just supposed to be fun, right? And then next month, September, right? September 1st.
Time is flying.
We will be doing Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. So that's the deal. And then after that, we'll be doing more stuff. Yeah. But right now, we're just going to do Animal Crossing for this podcast episode. And then I'll be streaming Animal Crossing throughout all of August. And then we will do Pokemon Diamond and Pearl for September 1st podcast episode, as long as Kaylie can get it finished.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So today is all about Animal Crossing New Horizons. Yay! It was developed by Nintendo, of course, and it was released on the Switch in March of 2020. And the funny thing is, because it was released during COVID, everyone bought it because everybody wanted something to play while on lockdown.
Wasn't it one of the games that got released a little bit early? Like a little bit?
I don't think so.
I don't remember.
I think it was released on time. But there were a few people who got it a couple days early, but that's kind of normal.
Probably one of the ones they just advocated for being released early.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, so so many people wanted this game, and so many people wanted to buy Switches and play it with everybody else who was in lockdown. And I think that really spiked some of these game sale numbers that we've been seeing. And it's also been spiking the desire to have a Switch. So many people have been itching to get a Switch, and because of that, they've been sold out pretty much everywhere. But in any case, the current version, just for people listening to this in the future, the current version that we're on is 1.4.0. So if you're, if it's could be a year or so in the future, and some of these things might not relate, or they may have changed it in future iterations or updates or whatever. But yeah, it's definitely, things change, and we get updates. So with that said, let's kind of talk about the story as what little bit of story we get. You as the player are given a ticket to a deserted... it's actually for a deserted island getaway package from Tom Nook.
We all need one of those.
And when you land on this deserted island, it really is like a wild area. There's weeds everywhere. There's trees overgrown, whatever. And your goal quickly becomes to build your island up to attract other villagers to come and make a community. And once you get yourself up to a level 3 island, a 3-star island, then KK Slider wants to come and visit. And this is like a big deal in the game. KK Slider's this famous music artist, and him coming to your island is this big deal. So he comes to your island and he performs, he does a little show. And after that, you pretty much get your credits and you're done, more or less. There are a lot of things you got to do along the way, things that you have to build, but like that's pretty much it. From then on, after you get KK Slider, your goal is to just build your town up as best as you possibly can, and have the
Perfect
legendary
score.
5-star island, which isn't so legendary. But then all along the way, you're paying Tom Nook for all of the services of the island. So literally everything that you do, you have to pay Tom Nook for. So if you want to have a house, you got to pay Tom Nook. You want to move your house, you got to pay Tom Nook. You want a villager in, you have to pay Tom Nook. If a villager wants to move, which they don't, you always want to move them, you got to pay Tom Nook for that too. You want to build a bridge, you got to pay Tom Nook. So, like, literally everything in this game, all the money goes to Tom Nook. So, I don't know, is there anything else that I missed, like, story-wise?
That's pretty much it.
What did you think about, what did you give it for story, first off?
I give it a 6.
I gave it a 7, so, I mean, we're on the same page.
Okay. This is something that I really wanted out of Animal Crossing, which I knew it was far-fetched, but in the past, you were able to be the mayor, and then in Happy Home Designer, you got to be a designer. And I thought it would have been really cool if you had the option to do jobs. Like, you could be the mayor, you could be working at Brewster's Cafe, you could be working for Tom Nook, you could, earn bells that way too. And then it would have given it more story. Like, yeah, it already is this way where you are yourself on your own island, but like you're not even the mayor in this one. I feel like you would have had more of a vital role, I guess, if you had the option to be the mayor or be in your certain job type.
We haven't reviewed a whole lot of Animal Crossing games for the podcast, but the few that we have reviewed, the other one, I can't say that the story is really any different. It's basically the same concept. Build your town up and do the best you can, and that's pretty much it.
If they had assigned you mayor, I think I would have, because I realize these games really don't have a story because that's just the kind of game it is. But at least you were mayor in New Leaf, where this one, you're just one of the other villagers. Like, you have more rights because apparently they think you can do better. But I think if you had been special, even if you had a special title, it's just, you're just a person. There's no actual story, where at least if you were the mayor, you had a purpose.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Well, outside of the lack of story, I mean, it's not designed to have story.
Right.
I mean, it's not. It's designed to be a laid-back game where you just kind of come and go as you please. You kind of build faux relationships with the villagers on the island that you invite in or that you find. But that said, you can kind of, and I've seen this a lot online where people are building their villages to incorporate some sort of story. Like, Tom Nook is a mobster, and he wants his money, and that kind of stuff. And or like you have one villager that's like your best friend, and you go and see him every day, and you build these like these fake imaginary stories that aren't really in the game, but you're kind of building them as you go. And I kind of guilty. I kind of like doing that. I mean, that kind of stuff happens, and it reminds me a lot of how Harvest Moon was for me, where like you build these because there's so much nothing, your brain just kind of does it for you.
Yeah,
like,
seriously.
I'm just kind of developing these imaginary stories as I go, and you tend to lean towards one villager because of something that happened. He tripped once in front of you, and now you name him Trippy or something. You know what I mean?
So who's your favorite villager that you have on your island?
Right now, my favorite villager is Coco.
I
And
like Coco.
I got
cute.
Coco somewhat early in the game, but as soon as I got Coco, I was hooked. It's this little bunny who's like a chocolate
She
cookie,
looks like a cookie,
like a
doesn't she?
chocolate-filled
Like a
cookie.
hollow,
Yeah, I was thinking like the koalas or the pandas.
I always thought she looked like the gyroids that they used to have in the previous
Oh yeah, I
games.
suppose like texture-wise.
But yeah, she's got like hollow eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
You got some glasses on her. It's really
yeah,
cute.
yeah. She looks kind of creepy, but I like her. I think she's cute.
My favorite villager, I had to use the amiibo card. It's always been Stitches.
Stitches,
I love
yeah.
Stitches. At first I got him in New Leaf, and when I first got him, I thought, ugh, that's a creepy teddy bear that someone Frankenstein together. But like you get to know, like you said, you get to know their kind of personalities. And he's so cute.
Yeah.
Between Stitches and Hopkins, he's a little blue rabbit, but he's got a little thing in the back of his head. He looks like a little pool floaty that
Yeah,
you've inflated.
I've seen him.
He's really cute.
Other than that, I guess that's really it. Like it used to be that the villagers themselves had some sort of like some sort of story built into their personalities that they would kind of explain to you as they go. Like some villagers would really hate certain items, and every time they saw that item they would complain about it. And this one, all of the personalities, even the dialogue are kind of linked to their personality trait, because there's like 5 personality traits.
Yeah, like your snooty neighbors and your lazy neighbors, and they're more snacky than lazy.
All of these personality types, out of how many, I wrote down how many villagers there are somewhere. 397 villagers, and all of them are separated into these personality categories. And within those personality categories, there's no other personality. Like everyone with the jock personality are all jocks. There's no like distinguishing between them, aside from very few that have specific dialogues, but otherwise they're all pretty much the same character, just reskinned. And that's annoying.
The thing about, I was thinking about, well, City Life and New Leaf. In the past, you have your reoccurring like major characters. So like, the Able sisters, are they called the Able sisters?
Yeah, sure.
Able?
Yeah.
Anyway, those are their names. They have a sister that you see her in this current game, but like they had more of a backstory of like the family dynamics and stuff, and it's absent in this one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like that with a few of the characters. Like these characters that used to have some kind of a little bit of a story, it's absent in this. And that's kind of what I'm saying about earlier. Like you at least were a mayor, or there was some kind of substance, where it's just been completely removed in this one. I feel like it makes me feel like there's a lack of story where there was already no story to begin with. Now
now they've brought it back even further.
So I agree. I think if it had those things like that always has had, I would have scored it higher, and I would have scored it even higher if it had incorporated something else.
I guess for me, my 7 really comes into play because until KK Slider comes, like your progression all the way up to KK Slider, there actually is some sort of movement to the game. Like that's your progression, that's your story. I mean, you're getting dialogue. You're really getting dialogue from Tom Nook, who is going on this like journey of building up the island and wanting to attract more people in and wanting to get KK Slider in, and you're seeing that aspect of it. But then after that, it's dead. Like as soon as KK gets there, it's over. You get no more story.
If you're counting that as your story,
that is my story. Yeah.
Then that story lacks substance.
Oh well, yeah, for sure.
I mean, then that's just kind of.
But like,
it's a cool idea to begin with. But
I don't think when you're comparing it to maybe New Leaf, or what is that, the one on the 3DS?
Yeah.
So if you're comparing it to that, I consider that to be more story than, what New Leaf had.
New Leaf's story was that you're starting out on your own. You're moving out of your parents' house, and then it's like a mix-up that you become mayor. And that's what I'm saying with like what I've been wanting more from a Harvest Moon game, an Animal Crossing game. It's I want more. I want to be more of an importance. I want to have, a job. I want to earn my bells. I want it to be, it's not supposed to be necessarily real life like, but I want something more.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to earn some bells instead of having to just do the traditional hunting for bugs. And I mean, those are important too, but they get a little lackluster after a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it would be cool it kind of adds to the story. Oh, so and so comes in every day, and that's my favorite villager, and I already know what he likes every day. And then I know what so and so could like. Maybe I could suggest these items to buy from Tom Nook's, or restocking mini games or something.
Yeah.
Which I realize this is just kind of going into what I wanted out of this game, but I wanted a lot out of this game and I didn't get it.
And it's just like the same Animal Crossing, just better graphics, essentially.
What I wanted out of Animal Crossing, like, we're on story, so, like, I think what I wanted would have contributed to story, is what I'm just saying.
Sure, yeah. I think, from my point of view, it's okay that there's not story. It is. It's not meant to have story. I get that. But I think the villagers individually could have had some sort of backstory and more lore to them that would have just enhanced the game just a little bit more. If they'd have put a little more effort into their dialogue, I think it would have just pushed the game a little bit further. That said, there was one other thing that I wanted to talk about. There are a couple villagers that actually have, like, real life lore built into them. And that is their backstory, more or less, that they have that like, there's one, specifically, I have one, that, Nan, she's is it a he, Lori? Nan? Anyway, it's like a black goat, and they're in their house, they have a picture of a white goat. And it's like, well, who is this white goat? So the white goat is actually, can you pronounce that?
Shavir?
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 Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, it's that. No, it's a villager name.
It's a villager word.
Yeah, so that villager, it's CHEVRE.
It's probably French or something.
Anyway, that goat is a white goat, and that's the picture who is in Nan's house. And if you get that villager, then they have a picture of Nan. And the lore behind that is, in Japan, there's a children's song that talk about the white goat and the black goat who send letters to each other. Aww. So it, like, plays on that lore, that real life, story. Sure. That it kind of brings these characters to life. And see, that's super cute to me. Like, it would be really cute to me if they had other characters who were like, I really like everyone on this island, but I really wish my best friend George would come into this island because I really like,
If they had, like, interconnected stories to each other.
Yeah.
That would be...
And then if you get that villager who they are specifically requesting, then they build a relationship together and you kind of see them walking around holding hands or something cute,
It would be more ideal, too, because then they wouldn't have to specifically write dialogue for each and every, nearly 400 characters. Where if they did it so that they interacted with, so this set of villagers knows this set of villagers, and this villager's best friends with it. Yes, I see what you're saying. I think that's smart.
To just build, like, interweave the community a little bit more within the villagers themselves. I don't know. But, I mean, that's pretty much it for story.
Yeah.
So, you want to move on to graphics?
Sure, what'd you give it?
I gave it a 10.
Really?
You didn't? What was wrong with it? I couldn't think of anything wrong with the game that deserved anything less than a perfect score.
I guess it's just the little things. Like, it's not that I had a problem. I guess I could have moved it up to a 9, but, like, it's kind of like when you're diving, how when you pick something up off the floor, it's just the floor. Like, I don't know. My biggest problem, which I actually put it under gameplay, but I felt like there was a lack of items.
Oh.
I hate to compare it to New Leaf. Like, that's not fair. But on the other hand, I don't feel like it would have been that hard to have moved over New Leaf's items. And New Leaf had a whole bunch of, like, food and stuff. And maybe I just haven't unlocked it, but I have not seen a lot of... I'm very... I'm not that impressed with this game compared to its previous game, New Leaf. There's stuff that I like about this game a lot more, but I feel like I still value New Leaf as my favorite.
Sure, okay. So from my perspective, and I've also played New Leaf quite a bit, not quite as much as you, but quite a bit. They did turn this game into a full 3D rendered game, and it's high quality. It's the highest quality that the Switch can produce, whatever the numbers are. I don't know, but in any case, like every single item is 3D rendered. Every single item has multiple colors. Well, not every single item. A lot of the items have multiple colors to them. A lot of the items need other items that contribute to them. A lot of the items move. A lot of the items you can interact with. All of the bugs and the fossils and everything, all of those are 3D rendered and high quality. And like, I don't think that they slacked whatsoever when it came to graphics. Like, for me, even, it's all the tiny details. So some of them that I wrote down, the bridge, when you walk across the bridge, at the end of the bridge, it kind of like sways a little bit. And you don't notice unless you take a second to look at it. But when you see it, it's like, oh my gosh, this detail is amazing.
I must not have used that bridge.
I think, well, yeah, I think the stone ones don't do it, but I think the like basic, I think the swinging bridge do it. But yeah, you walk across it and it kind of has a little jiggle to it. The TVs, Lori told me about a lot of these. The TVs at 5 o'clock in the morning, it shows a no signal on the TV.
They've always done that.
It's so cute. It's the smallest detail, but it's so neat. The fan, if you have a fan inside your house and you have it blowing against some like foliage that you have in there, everything kind of like wiggles when the fan hits it. It's like they don't have to add that detail, but they did, and it's great. And the things that can interact with that wind mechanism is so neat. It makes sense because they have all these items can be set outside or inside, so it makes sense that they would have some sort of blowing animation to them anyway if you're going to put them outside. But the fact that they have that in there at all is just it's neat.
Did you notice the sheen from the moon at nighttime off of stuff? All right, you've swayed me. I will move my my graphics up.
She's moving
I don't know.
it.
I guess it's just I don't know. I don't know what to say. Like, I think part of my problem is I've got stuff in gameplay that I felt like went hand in hand. So maybe that's why I was.
Yeah, I get it.
I'll bump it up to a 10. I can. You've swayed me.
Man, a 10, huh? So what was it?
It was just an 8.
Oh, okay. So
I mean, it wasn't like it was super low.
No, but that's nice. My pen's way down there, but I don't want to get it.
It's 2
it's
points.
staying there.
Yeah.
We'll just have to mentally remember that they're 2 points. All right. Sorry, I just want to go over all of. Oh, your character. Your character has a lot of customization in this game.
It definitely is nice that you have the wand too.
Oh yeah.
You can set your characters to have a set amount of outfits to wear. I do like the outfits. I agree. However, I've always used custom.
Oh yeah.
Outfits.
Well, aside from that though, I mean, your facial features and hair and all that, you can really make your character look like you or look like whatever character you're aiming for. You can really customize that.
I agree. I definitely wish that there was more hairstyles.
Yeah, I agree.
And
but
more
I don't
colors.
believe was that an option in any of the other ones? Because I don't think character customization was in there hardly at all.
There was a New Leaf because you could
you could go to the barber.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
I feel like I had a red hair color in New Leaf that I really liked that I couldn't get in this one. I think what they could have really highlighted on, especially because it still is a big thing, is the ombre that people like to do. I think that would have been awesome for your characters, but they allowed for like face paint, so like you could put on freckles and stuff, so that's pretty cool. The customization of your character is really nice.
Yeah,
absolutely. That in itself is a good reason why I should bump my graphics up to 10.
I wish there was more interaction with the items on screen. So like like the pinball machine. You walk up and you just kind of like punch the pinball machine and it makes some sounds. But how hard would it be to just put your hands up on the pinball machine and make it kind of look like you're playing it or something? I mean, that's just one example, but like there's a lot of items that I feel like that they could have easily incorporated some sort of animation to go with those items so that you interact with them more. Like the bikes, let you get up on the bikes, or like the exercise machine to let you interact with them a little bit more.
They did have some of them though are surprising. There is they call it a bamboo doll, and when you first craft it, it's just a bamboo stick, and then when you touch it, it like opens up, and there's a little
Figure
bamboo
inside that floats up.
There's also a peach that does that. I really like the peach. It's like a little baby inside. I don't know what it's about, but it's really funny.
So, and then the villagers, and we kind of talked about this already. 397 villagers. That's a lot of detail work.
Yes and no, because some of those villagers are the same kind of villagers.
They're just like reskinned, repainted. Yeah.
And some of those were really freaking ugly.
Yeah, that's true. There were
really ugly.
Megan, she's so ugly.
I really like some of the frogs, but most of them I think they are so ugly.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I mean, some people really like those characters, so
yeah,
they're important to have.
I get it, but you know,
some of them are very ugly.
Yeah. And everybody has their own style,
Yeah.
and that's why they incorporate so many different styles to the villagers as well. But the museum is amazing in this game.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. And they added on to it recently for the artwork and stuff.
Yep.
It is beautiful. I love the bug section the most. They really went all out with the like the little, you can see like the ants and stuff, and
they really made some of the bugs have very specific like little terrariums for them to be in, and you know they have,
when you place them in the real world, it's so cute.
Yes.
So the ants have the little ant, like the ant farm that kids used to get. There's a few water bugs that lay down as a pail. There's a few that lay down as a bucket. When you lay the sharks down, they're like, I don't know how to explain the sharks. Like have you seen the sharks lay down?
Well, are they like in a pool or something?
Kinda, yeah. They're like a little like hazard
kiddie pool.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some really, really cute ones. The fly. Have you seen the fly? Mm-mm. It's on a piece of paper and there's a jar over it. It's like that with the fly, the flea, and ant, I think. Yeah, or no, the ant's the anthill. But yeah, some of the smaller ones. It's cute. But yeah, like the aquariums are amazing.
Yeah.
Too, in the museum anyway.
Yeah, the museum. All of the fossils, like you could kind of do this before where you see them getting built, but now it's this like multi-tiered room, and you can go up and really get
see
like
how big they
a
are.
full scale. I mean, they may not be still full scale, true to life, but I mean, you still get this like sense of scale to them. Like you see the long neck, whatever they're called, the long neck dinosaurs, and it's like, oh wow, this is neat, you know? And then to see them in all these different areas too, where you have different, you know,
and
like all the sharks are in one tank in the area, and all the little fish are in this like pond type of area.
It's cool. They did such a good job capturing that museum feel. Like even the floor is like, it just looks like a little museum.
I know.
And they've got like little pathways, and they've got like an area where you can see like the evolution of animals and like your character.
Oh yeah,
really
yeah.
cute.
I saw that.
But
that
yeah,
really
to be able to see the different sizes of dinosaurs and stuff, it's pretty cool with how they decided to design it all. At least for the museum.
Right. Oh man.
So yeah, 10.
Yeah, yeah.
You've swayed me. I guess I just didn't think about it hard enough. Shame on me. I should have thought about it more.
I get it. I mean, it's easy to. I have this problem when I'm building up my my scores too. Like, my brain says, but was it really that good?
Yeah.
And then you start like writing out all the details, and it's like, oh yeah, and this, oh yeah, and I really like this, and it's like, man, maybe this should be a 10. Like, I literally, like, I can't, yeah, they could have added more items or they could have added more variations to some of the things, but, like, really, I can't complain about any of it. Like, nothing seemed pixelated, nothing seemed out of place, nothing seemed like it didn't work right. Like, it all just went really well.
Even the water is really, it makes me want to swim in it
I know,
and drink
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I know. It would taste just like blue Kool-Aid.
Blue Kool-Aid.
So, we'll go ahead and move on to gameplay. This is going to be...
Long.
I know that we talked a lot about graphics, but gameplay always is the big one. First off, I wanted to talk about this because it's really driving a lot of people crazy, and I don't know if enough people are complaining about it. I don't know if enough people are having this problem, but if your character gets... If you bring in a villager and they have a custom designed shirt, it will stick with that character no matter what happens. So, like, if you know, Joe gives Sandy a character that has a customized shirt, Sandy then gets rid of it because she doesn't like the custom shirt but can't do anything about it, and gives it, and Tina picks it up, and then Tina has that custom shirt but hates it and then gets rid of it, and I go to Tina's village for whatever reason, and then I come back and then I get that villager with the custom shirt. Now then I don't like it and I get rid of it, and that it follows that character all the way around. Another problem is not only does that custom shirt carry with the character, but it also will spread per village, so, or per island. So if you have a character that has a custom design print in your island, there's a likelihood that the longer they're there, the more of your other villagers are going to get that custom design. This isn't too much of a problem until you start getting obscene shirts. And you have no control over, you know, like, I kick out the villager, but I have a party where a dozen people show up and are coming in and out of my village. One of those could have that villager come to their town. It's like, there is no end to this. And no matter how many times you talk to Isabel about complaining about their design, about what they're wearing, it will not go away.
Really?
It will not go away, no matter what you do. So we have tried so many things. We've tried complaining to Nintendo about it. Nintendo doesn't care. They haven't fixed it, and I don't know why. But there is a shirt that's going around. It's an obscene shirt, and we keep seeing it, and you can't do anything about it. Like, Lori had it in her town, and she kicked the guy out because he kept having it. And then much, much later, months later, I got that villager just because I had been to Lori's town a few times. So, like, just because of that, I had the possibility of having it. Like, it just saves that information.
When I have a villager move out, I will have not had anyone over, or I have not gone over to anyone else's village or island for recently, a long time. Yeah. And it still will move in characters that weren't on your guys' island for a while. Like, that seems so... Like, I would much rather have a brand new villager in the cycle than the villagers that you guys obviously didn't want. The same, like,
6 villagers just rotating amongst the same people. Yeah.
And I mean, the good villagers that you might possibly want, obviously, you would keep those villagers if they were good enough.
So it's just the same, like,
so
crappy...
So why would I want the same crappy villager that you just got done kicking out?
Right. So that there is, like, the worst thing that's going on that I've seen so far. And I think the Isabel mechanism is supposed to fix that, but it's not working. It's not working. It will remove, if they're wearing the custom shirt, you complain about it, it will go away for that day, but you still have it still happens where a few weeks later or a few days later they could be wearing that shirt again. So there is no guarantee that it's gone, and Nintendo needs to fix that because people are idiots. Well, and kids are playing these games.
I think the thing about the rotating shirts is they want to make sure that the villagers are wearing different shirts, like not the same one every day, which is great.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's great, but I think that's where it's faulted, and I wonder if that's the problem. It's not being removed from the rotation.
I think that Nintendo needs to completely disable custom designs to move between islands.
I agree.
Completely remove it. If you want to download that custom design and give it to a character, completely on you. Nothing wrong with that.
I agree.
That's how you want to play your game. Perfectly fine. But I don't think that design should move to someone else's village no matter what. I don't think that it should be allowed whatsoever.
I agree.
But,
well,
it does.
I don't know if it was like that or not before, but yeah.
Well, I know that they've had problems with people, communicating back and forth. And, I get Nintendo put these warnings when you're moving between islands, like, hey, don't do what Dodo won't do or whatever he says. But like that doesn't... You have no control over that village situation.
Right.
Because you could go to someone's village and not even know that they had a problem with a custom designed shirt, and now you have that. It's like a virus. It really is. Like, you can't control, you can't contain that.
The thing about the obscene shirt, though, like, let's say I have an 11-year-old, and she visited her Uncle Bill's island. And Uncle Bill thinks that stuff's funny, and that's fine because Uncle Bill has his own game.
Perfectly fine.
He has no control over who is sent over. So it's not like he would purposely want that on her island, but because the customs are taken over, or
the custom shirt's
over,
moving with, yeah.
Then that's a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you can't... I understand that that's hard to explain to everyone on Nintendo's part. That's why you should just remove it altogether.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm sure there's not that many instances, but
I think that's the problem. Well, That's where we're running into, is that there's not a ton of it. But when you do a Google search for obscene custom designs in Animal Crossing, there are people who are seeing it, and there are people who are having this problem. And I actually I put a post in the Nintendo support forums trying, and in support of this, like, fix this, Nintendo, just to tell my story. So if you guys are having this also, please go to the Nintendo support forums, and you have to make a freaking account, which is annoying. But once you sign in and just talk about it and tell Nintendo, I don't know if they're seeing it, but if enough people are complaining about it, maybe Twitter can do it too. I don't know. But
it's not like...
I think that it's an easy fix to just remove custom designs being transferred between islands, and I think that it's essential. But I mean, I think that's good. I think there's so much more about gameplay that is really good that is a bug, in my opinion. That needs to be fixed, but it'll get there eventually, I would hope.
I loved that you can finally play stuff outside on your island. It was not a thing before. It makes the experience more fun.
It changes everything, really.
Terraforming alone and all of that was just amazing. Like, I wanted that too. Like, that's awesome that you can do that.
Is this the first game that you could build on a second tier?
I think
I don't remember that
tiers
being
existed, but it was like already formed into your island.
Right,
I
you
think.
couldn't do anything.
And you could build bridges and stuff, because, like, you would never have enough, so it was one of the things they wanted you to do, which was fine. You had your main bridge to get to the other side, but yes, this is the first... The ladder is new, the vaulting pole is new, which is awesome features. I really liked that. Swimming's not new, but it does seem like it is a little bit better. Mm-hmm. I like that you can run and jump off the platforms into the water.
So, talking about swimming, I kind of want to talk about the update system too. If you play this game without the internet, your features are painfully limited. And that, I think, is a problem.
I've written this. I have an angry face next to the word updates. I know that this is a common thing games do, but to me, it felt like I was sold a $50+ game for the very bare minimum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
absolute bare minimum. Like,
mm-hmm. See, and I understand their concept where they want to expand on it and make it seem like they're doing, now you can go swimming. But that's the kind of stuff that should have been in the game day one. It's almost like they built the base game and they're like, get it out there. We'll push updates to it.
Some of this...
Where now, if for whatever reason you lose your game, 20 years later you lose your game and you put in your Animal Crossing game, you don't have anything. You're not going to have the swimming functions. You're not going to have any of the special events. You're not going to have the firework event that's going on right now. I mean, there's so many things you're going to be missing out on, and who knows what more they're going to be building on.
Well, that's the thing that bothers me, too. Some of the stuff they're adding is stuff that has existed in the previous game, and plus, like, more than just the last game. Yeah. And it is kind of, it's absurd. Mm-hmm. Like, I spent so much money so that, I can just play 20% of the game that you intended to release? Why did I spend this much money?
Now, the good news is the updates are free.
Not for how long?
Right, but the updates are free. And they are adding features in that should have been included from the base game, but it does make it seem like It does make it seem like that they pushed out a game that was completely unfinished, which is common, and it's really sad, but that's common now.
I feel like, I don't know if this is the case, and it could be that they're saying this too, just to kind of hide behind it, but it's like they're kind of locking you into, you've got to play the game day by day, not fast forwarding, and that's just not how I enjoy I wouldn't enjoy the game.
It's difficult to enjoy the game that way, and really... I have a note in here about that. I don't remember exactly what it was. Yeah, the whole time travel thing is a waste. You can't do it. It's impossible to play that way, because as adults, we only have a certain time to play. Like, for me, I can only really play at a very specific time of day, and like for me, I was playing it during my lunch hour. So like, I only got to experience the game at between noon and 1. So, like, if I wanted to play at night, I had to either force myself to stay awake at night to experience the game during those hours, or I'm out, or I have to time travel. So, like, it really makes it, you almost have to. And, to only play it, what the game wants you to do, what the game is designed for you to do, is to start up the game and play a couple hours, do a bunch of stuff, get stuff prepared so that, the next day you have something new going on. And then the next day you get up, you play a couple hours, you built your bridge and you can go and explore the other side. That's great. But if you want to sit down for like a full session of gaming, it doesn't really work that way. You almost have to
think about there's no doubt that all ages can play this, but especially little kids. There's no way that, first of all, that these little kids, because some of these bugs you have to catch late at night, and I know that some of them are like, you can catch it like 8 o'clock or something. Whose mom is going to let them play, like, especially little kids?
Yeah.
And especially little kids who aren't going to be playing for hours, you know what I mean? It's not like...
Well, and you've got people, adults again, who can only play, maybe at 10 o'clock at night. They get off work at 10 and that's all they can play. Well, if you only play at 10 o'clock at night, you have no time in the shop because all the shops close. So really you almost have to morph the game to be to work around your schedule. Like, you have to. Now, pushing the clock forward, constantly, you may not have to play that way. It is more entertaining that way because you can get stuff done, especially late game when you're maybe completely redesigning your island, or you're moving a lot of pieces around. It does make sense to move forward, but I mean, you don't necessarily have to. Just does make it a little bit easier.
I feel like there's a good chunk of people who agree with me that the game is just a lot more entertaining for us personally playing it by fast forwarding the time and by slowing it down, by trying to make it so that you can't. It's like, well, then I don't know if I really want to play.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, I get it.
especially because they didn't give you the full game
Right.
for the first, for the first month or so, however long before the new update pushed. We were really, I mean, to be fair, we were having to catch bugs and stuff, but it wasn't like we could fast forward time.
Yeah. So another, I don't know, it might be a small complaint to me, but it does make sense. So you have 3 different types of wood, right? You've got your softwood, you've got your hardwood, and you've got your wood. There's also 3 types of trees. There's your like pine trees, there's your regular trees, and then there is the palm trees. I mean, normal people
makes
would put
sense.
2 and 2 together, like, okay, there's 3 different types of trees, there's 3 different types of wood, but no, every chop you do, it randomizes what kind of wood you get. So if you if you are crafting something that takes a lot of hardwood, then you would plant a lot of those trees. You could, if they put this feature in the game, you would plant a bunch of those trees so that you could always go through and harvest,
Right.
Harvest the wood that way. Where the way that they have it now, it's so random, and it seems like certain types you don't get nearly as often as other types.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yes, that's exactly.
But on the upside, the whole reason why you need the wood is the DIY system. And that is, I
nice.
like it a lot.
I like it. I like it a lot more because, which should have gone under graphics too, the customization a lot better, a lot easier and quicker to do than it was in the previous game. And like the frying pan. Frying pan doesn't require a whole lot to make, and you can put like different foods in the frying pan, and it's like so satisfying to hear it sizzle. I don't like that there is a limit on your custom. So you can import custom designs, if you will, and you can do custom designs for like anything that you want to lay down on the ground, anything you want to put on your t-shirt, on your walls in your house, on your floors, whatever. And then they've got a whole bunch of stuff for like custom pro designs, which is like specialty dresses and hats and all that stuff. You get a small list for custom, to make custom paths. I love to make my own custom paths. I have to choose one kind of custom path because I don't have enough squares for everything. And it's just not enough. But the pro design has a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I would like to, which again, I realize you have the problem of people carrying over with some weird stuff, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I would like it to add more customization to which they do with the terraforming. You can lay down new ground types like sand and dirt and stone,
And you
which
can
is
add
nice.
custom ground types too.
But I don't know, like the paths, I have a brick path, and you need specific tiles for like going around corners and borders and all that stuff. So I would like some more spaces. I don't think it would be that hard. I would even sacrifice my pro design spaces. I don't know. I don't think it's that much to ask for.
I want to talk about multiplayer a little bit. The game.
Hold on. Someone's visiting your island right now. You gotta stop what you're doing and wait
Are
for
they
them
here
to
yet?
visit.
Oh, no.
And wait. Someone else is also on their way
crap.
now. And
I
someone's
was
going
just
to be
about to
leaving
start-
after this.
Crap. Yeah, no, that is so. I mean, you have to have loading. Like
Right.
you have to have time for loading. I get that. So like from that point of view, what else can you do? Like you can't really do anything else. But it is nice that they have the option to allow so many people in your town. Like at one given time, your island could have up to 8 different people online at any given time, which is really neat if you want to do like a bug catching event, or if you want to show off your island to a bunch of friends, or whatever the case is. It's really nice to be able to have that many people in your town, but it's so difficult because of the loading. Like, it just takes forever to get all those people in. Again, you have to have the loading screens. There's nothing you can do about that. It would be nice if it was quicker, but you're limited to what you're limited to. I guess the other side of this is the local multiplayer. So you can have up to 8 other people accounts on your Switch, on your island, but you can only have 1 island per Switch. And yeah.
I can't transfer my island to my other new Switch.
No, you can't. Not yet. They're working on that. They are working on that. But 1 island per Switch, and every player on your Switch can make an account, and they can, up to 8 people. So that's great, but if you're actually playing multiplayer locally, 1 player is the lead, and the other player is just like there running around, and it doesn't split screen or nothing.
You have to stay within that.
And then they teleport you, and if you pick up items, it goes into the recycle bin. It's just silly.
Womp womp.
It's cool. It's a cool idea, and it's neat to be able to have that, because for little kids to be able to run around with your character, that's kind of nice without them, destroying your world. But what's also funny about that is the original owner of the island, the person who built the island when the game came out, has full access to everything. But every other person who joins the island has limited access. Like, they can't, I think it was bridges or something like that, where they can't build or tear down bridges as a secondary player. It's only the first player of the game. Yeah.
Well, that's
weird.
They
can terraform.
You have to share your custom slots.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
because I thought I could just make a new player and add
have more customs. But
nope.
No, that's
but
dumb.
the secondary plus characters, though, they can remove items that have been actually placed and displayed.
Yeah.
They can take them down and place them around, which I thought was kind of, I guess I understand it, but it's kind of, like, it's nice for me, but it is kind of weird that they would be able to take, like if my kid, my 10-year-old was playing with me and tore down everything I had placed up. Like, those are my items. What if they sold it?
It's incentive for you as a parent to go out and buy a Switch Lite and another
Maybe,
copy of the game. Yeah. Lori's giving me the nod over there, like, yep, that's it. Yeah, I know. It's funny because it really does seem that way. And a lot of people have. And people that we know have gone out and bought a Switch Lite and another copy of the game just for their kid to play too. And here now, a lot of people aren't even playing anymore. And that's just how it is. I mean, I don't know.
I should have mentioned this during the DIY talk, but if you're crafting inside your house, you should have access to your inventory. Shouldn't have to go out of my crafting screen, go out of all the dialogue.
It makes sense if you're crafting on outside of your house.
Right.
But if you're inside your house, you should be able to pull your inventory from your house inventory to be able to craft items. You just should.
Just plain
and I
simple.
feel like that was one of my first thoughts when we started playing this game was, well, that's dumb.
Yeah, I think it's one of the first things that I've seen people repetitively say that should be a thing.
That, and I would really love to have bridges on the second tier of land. I would love to have land underneath my bridges from the second tier.
Oh, I see.
So that you can go under the bridge, or you can be on the top and go over the bridge, over the gap.
I don't think there should be a limit to how many bridges and inclines I have. I
agree.
have run into that issue, and I'm happy because my village would look a lot better, I think, if I had more access for more of those.
I do. It's tough because from one point of view, I like being limited because it makes me think outside the box. But on the other hand, if you're going for a very specific aesthetic look and inclines are kind of part of that look, it would be nice to just be able to build more inclines. I don't feel like that would take up that many resources.
Thinking outside of the box, but on the other hand, they're giving you the option to terraform. You can tear down your entire island and replace it with water. I'm sorry, then you're giving you free reign, then they should be able to let you have more than just 8 for stuff.
Yep.
So yeah.
No, I agree.
Um
10. Oh yeah.
yeah,
that
10
too.
villagers.
I would really like. So you're limited to how many villagers you can have. So you can have 8 players, but you're limited to only 10 villagers. So the actual animal villagers. And I think that that's a low number. I don't know what it was in the past games, but as I'm playing, there's way more space to have way more villagers, and you
agree.
just are limited. And when you're talking almost 400 possible villagers, why wouldn't you want more?
One of the things that I really, really wanted was like the villagers walk around holding little like popsicles.
Yeah, and they do
or-
that now, where they'll like be
Yeah.
holding pop, or they'll be sitting reading a book.
I want to
or,
do that.
I know.
I want to have props.
It's so cute to see all of your villagers lined up, and half of them are drinking sodas, and here you are, you can't drink a soda.
Like, here's my slingshot.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Honestly,
And it kind of goes back to being able to interact with like the soda machine. I would love to be able to interact with the soda
agree.
machine, and then you get a pop that you can hold around, and you carry it around until you switch items or something.
which could also like, let's say when Brewster will probably come to the village or your island. You can buy pops from there. You can buy your coffee to go while
Walk
you're running around.
wearing your
And
holding your coffee.
with their camera functions and your ability to do facial expressions, like it seems like it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think it would be a great like update to be like the photograph update. Like here's your props. They already have props. They already have like spinners and stuff that during special events. Like
Yeah.
why is that so out of to just carry a pop?
I think
It doesn't seem like it would be that hard.
it probably goes back to they don't want those items, but I don't. Why not? Why not have a pop item, a pop can item?
You know, I would even understand it if they didn't want to make it a placeable item, which would suck, but at least you could hold it. Like
I think that if you have a vending machine, which is in your Nook Miles, so like everybody has access to a vending machine, you walk up to the vending machine, you click on it, a pop drops out, and you pick up the pop and you carry it until you switch items. I think that seems pretty reasonable.
you could pay a little bit of gil
Even
money
if it's just free, like it wouldn't matter. And then you're holding a pop until you see a bug and you switch to a net. You don't have the pop anymore; it's gone, and then you got to go back and get another one.
Yes.
I think that would be a reasonable, reasonable way to do that. But I don't know. I know. So, what did you give it for gameplay?
An 8 out of 10.
I did too. Yeah, I did too.
Like the game, there's so many options that you do have that we could spend another long time going over. You want to always get the negatives in there.
Right.
It sucks to just point out the negatives, but they were things that really bothered me.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, of course. Well, from someone who's played every single game in the franchise, I mean, I have too. I've played probably all of them. I think I've played all of them. So, I mean, to some degree. And, there are things that you wish that they could do, and some of them they have done, like the terraforming and the things that fans have been asking for years, but, like, there are other things that I feel like are minute that they could just focus on and make it that much better.
Which, maybe in a future update, this whole podcast will be obsolete.
Irrelevant. Yeah, I know. We're going to have to completely redo it
Which,
in, like,
honestly,
a year.
if they would listen to their fans, then that would make me... I would be more than happy to redo this podcast.
If they would get rid of the obscene custom shirts. I mean, but really. So, I just want to kind of go over my notes real quick. You more or less have complete control over your island to be able to do and design it however you want.
Not that you're the mayor.
I know, and Tom Nook owns everything, so I mean, it's all his. But it's really neat to be able to have, like, the village that I'm making. I'm not going to give it away just yet, but the village that, well, really Lori's making it, but the island that we're working on has a very specific theme to it, and if you try hard enough and you know some of the tricks, you can transform that thought of a theme into reality, and it's really neat to see what people have taken, like a Japanese garden theme, and have the entire island this majestic Japanese garden, and you can really use items that aren't designed to be that way, and that I love that concept, that and
Yeah.
people are so creative. To watch those island tours that are on YouTube is amazing.
I know my island pales in comparison to
I
almost
know,
all
yeah,
of
I
these.
know, same. People are just so creative, it's amazing. The Nook Miles are essentially like a secondary currency anymore. So like, yeah, you get your bells, and your bells buy stuff in the shop. They buy like house upgrades and
There's not
stuff like
enough.
that. But the miles will buy your tickets, and they'll buy you can buy bells with your miles, and they're a little bit harder to get. And I think that that's why websites like Nookazon, they started dealing in Nook Miles tickets, or the island.
Yeah, I think they're called Nook Miles.
Those tickets are
Tickets.
for, because they're so exclusive. I mean, they more or less, like, you can farm Nook Miles because they have ways of doing it. Like, it's designed to be able to build up the Nook Miles, but it's a weird concept of having these two currencies, Getting new villagers. Let's go over this.
That's nice. Kind of.
So the way that you get villagers in this game, from an empty plot, like if you are new to the game, you can put down an empty plot, and within a few days, you will have a new villager in that plot. And it's completely, more or less, it's completely random. It could be from one of your friends, and there are ways, I'm not going to go into all the nitty-gritty stuff, but there are ways for you to, if your friend has a villager moving out, you can get that villager in your town after they move out. So there are ways of going about that. You can kick out a villager. There's again a very specific way that you do it to have a villager want to leave, and then when that villager leaves, that plot becomes open, and then the same rules apply to an empty plot where within a couple days you get a random villager. You can use the Nook Miles tickets to go to a mystery island, and if you have an empty plot in your island, you can go to these islands and find villagers that you can invite into your island, and they'll come and be part of it. And that's a big one that's being done right now, is that people are using these miles tickets to go to the mystery islands and find or hunt for very specific villagers.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm going to be doing, and I'll talk about it later. The other way is that you can get it by campsite. So if a villager comes to your campsite, you can invite them to permanently stay in town. And if they come to the campsite randomly, you will kind of get a random villager that they ask to leave. But if you invite a villager to your campsite by the amiibo system, then you can actually pick which villager moves you kick out. So that's kind of nice. Now, the amiibos alone, essentially, the amiibo cards and figures acts like a phone number. So when you can use the cards or the amiibos, and it will call that villager. And some of them, a handful of them, you can actually invite them to your town to stay at the campsite. From there, then the campsite rules apply, where you can invite them to stay permanently. Now, most of those amiibos are just the amiibo cards that were released with Happy Home Designer. And guys, I was this close, like a few months before the game released, we thought about buying the entire set of them on eBay. They were going for maybe like $80 or something like that to just get the entire set of them, because nobody was using for Home Designer anymore. Everybody was using them just for Home Designer, and then they sold them. So it was super easy to find. Now, and as soon as they announced that they were using the amiibo cards, each one individually can be as high as, $60. So, like, yeah, I'm really mad. I'm really mad that we didn't try harder to get the entire amiibo set. But what you gonna do?
Oh, it makes you wonder though, when this game is old, will they go back down in price? Or will
It's
they
possible.
stay?
Yeah, it's possible. Now, luckily,
I did
Kaylee
get some,
here
yeah.
has a lot of them. She has a lot of
I
them.
was given some by a friend, and I had bought quite a few on my own.
Luckily,
so yes.
there was a handful that we really wanted and that Lori really wanted that you had cards for. So that was really nice. But yeah, I mean, it's neat that they incorporated that, but it just adds it adds that desire for those cards that is kind of made up. And what's weird is they haven't released any more. You would think that they would have like a second run of those amiibo cards just because nobody can find them now.
The new villagers.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, exactly.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, it's weird. And then Harvey's Island. Harv's.
Oh yeah.
Harv's Island.
I don't use it a whole lot, but
I don't either, but the concept is great.
It is a great. I'm glad that it's there if I should want to. Yeah.
So what it is there's this little, is he a dog?
I think so,
He's
yeah.
a little hippie dog, and he has a house on an island. And day one, I'm pretty sure day one, he's on your island walking around, and he's like, hey man, you should come to my island sometime. And when you go there, he basically has full access to every item you have ever picked up and every wallpaper and flooring you have ever picked up. So you can customize his house in any way you want, and it really gives you a sense of design so that, you know, if you want to play with room designs, you can there without ordering all the pieces and not liking it. It's a neat way to play with that concept. Also, it's a great way to go and take pictures. So, like, if you want to give your house, if you want to take a picture of, like, a Japanese-style room, you could go to Harv's Island.
Bring in your villagers.
Yeah, and you can just have full range to every single item that you've ever had. And that's really really
cute.
cool.
Yeah,
it's a cool
really
concept.
good idea.
But with that, I think that's... no. I have
Music?
a lot. I have a lot more for
Oh,
gameplay.
no.
Sorry. That was just the good stuff for gameplay. So bad stuff. The bells slowly become irrelevant.
Yeah.
I tend to get bored fast and or fall asleep. More than one time have I been playing and collecting weeds and pulling weeds, and I'm just like,
I am guilty of being that person in general. When I play video games, it's funny because my husband's the opposite way. When he plays games, wide awake, he doesn't go to sleep. It's next morning, 5 a.m. Me, I play for 5 minutes and then I'm like, like passing out.
I guess for me, it just depends on the game. Like, Animal Crossing really hits that, like, lullaby nerve where I'm just, like, going to sleep.
You know, I like Animal Crossing because it's easy mode. I get to be creative my own time, my own way. And I'm not going in for a challenge, you know what I mean? Like, it's...
Right.
And so, yeah, it puts you to sleep. Although, if you need to go to sleep, Animal Crossing's a great way to...
Yeah, that's very true. Well, and it's kind of nice, yeah. If you're gonna play for a couple hours before you go to bed, it is kind of relaxing.
Sometimes I play a day's worth. I go through the whole day, do what I want, and go to the next day.
Collect your fruit.
Go to sleep.
Yeah. The last thing on my list, and this really is the last thing on my list, Isabelle, she has these morning announcements. So every time you open up your game, she has the daily announcements that she says. Those announcements really should include the specialty NPCs that are in your town for that day. At least then it'll give you something, it'll give her something to say. Because half the time when I open up my game, it's like, oh, I watched a TV show, blah, 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 blah. And then that's it. And it's like, how, really? And then you show up and it's like, oh crap, it would have been nice to have known that Sierra was in our town. Like, she really should announce those things. Sierra, Kix, the Able sister.
Well, I guess for the ones that just show up at the plaza, it's different. But yeah, like,
to some degree, but at
Sierra,
least give her some dialogue.
something new to say.
Yeah.
I guess on the other hand, though, is she gives those cues. It's like, oh, there must be someone at the campsite this time, at least.
Yeah, that's the only good thing.
Yeah.
And the campsite's really, what is it, like, hardly ever that you get a random person in the campsite?
I finally got someone yesterday, and it took me forever to get them to move into my island without just kicking. Okay, so when you have a camper, and this is only if you're not using the amiibos, if you don't save it beforehand, when you walk in there and agree to have them move in, they choose one villager at random, and that's who they replace, no matter what. So you don't get to choose who gets to move out.
But if you leave... restart your game or something like that, then they have an opportunity to randomly pick another different villager.
But if you just kept going, it would be the same one. So last night,
Right.
I'm not joking, like an hour and a half, just to move in this new squirrel. Because I didn't like my current armadillo girl. And I would like to have the option to choose. And you can choose when you use the amiibo cards.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's dumb. That's stupid.
Sure. Yeah.
Although the campsite's nice. You used to have that option before too in the last game, but it would be nice if you could have more interactions with the campers at the campsite. Like
I
if
wish
you had
that there was more in the campsite, period.
That's what I'm saying. If you had it so that so let's say when you place your campsite where you decide to place it, there has to be like a mandatory larger space. That way, whatever things you put on there, then you see your camper walking around outside the camp. Because the camp itself, the tent is so tiny.
I
and
think it's
blah.
funny that you never see that villager who's camping on your island. You never see him walking around. Why?
I
That
know.
seems so weird to me. Like, I get it. Maybe they wanted to make sure that you could find that villager if he's camping in your town or whatever. But still, like,
Well, like
let
you said,
him walk around, like you said.
Yeah,
like just that
do
small,
that
a small
perimeter,
circle of they can at least be outside. It
Because
does
I
seem
have
weird.
mine set up like a little campsite.
I mean, how many times we go camping and we just sit in our tent the whole time?
There's nothing even in the tent.
I know.
That's what I don't understand either. Like you can't put like a book and a flashlight and just something. It's just
It's just a tent and a cot.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah.
It's super boring. I think your own tent when you place it has more stuff than the campsite. I don't know. That one's
There is a possibility that we've talked about it already a little bit, that a lot of these things will change with new iterations. The pier, Lori's on the pier right now fishing, but this pier is on every single island, and there's a few spots around that are similar, that every island has very specific features, even if they're moved a little bit. But this pier has no function, and it's like, what are they gonna do with this? I want to know. Like, kind of like the mysterious island in the back where Red goes to now. Everyone knew that it was going to be used for something, but what? And then Red shows up, and it's like, oh, that's what.
Well, it could be used in the future for the captain.
That's what I was thinking too.
But you can get special fish at the end of the pier.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that. Huh, that's cool. But
Yeah. Although
things that they'll probably add later.
I placed some fishing rods in like a tackle box and stuff to make it look like a fishing thing.
You can utilize
yeah.
that, but I feel like it's this empty use. Like,
I'm glad you can place stuff on it because I honestly thought you couldn't.
Yeah, that is nice.
Wow.
Well, anything else about gameplay?
Nope. 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Yep. All right, let's move on to music.
Music.
I originally had it a 9 out of 10, and Lori talked me down, so it's at a 9 out of 10. What did I just say?
You had it a 9 out of 10, and then Lori talked you down to a 9 out of 10. Good job. Add that to the blooper reel.
That's not at all what I meant to say. I had it at a 10 out of 10.
She could not sway you out of that 9 out of 10. She just couldn't. It deserved that 9 out of 10.
No, so I had it at a 10 out of 10, and Lori convinced me to move it down to a 9 out of 10.
Is it because of the boom boxes outside.
That's part of it. That is part of it. You are limited to how many boomboxes you can have outside. I'm pretty sure that's a hardware issue, that once you start getting too many sounds, it can bog down your system or something. Not that it matters, because there are certain areas of the island that are... There are certain areas in some people's islands that slow down, and it's noticeable and it's annoying. But music, yeah, what is it, like 10 or something like that? 10 boomboxes you're allowed to have outside at any given time.
I don't know if you know this. I was playing as my other character the other day, and my outside boomboxes wouldn't play the music that I placed in there.
Really?
I think because I didn't have it in their inventory. Not
the
sure.
Songs? Oh, no, that doesn't make any sense. That's weird.
I have to double check it, but I think that's how it was. It was very strange because I had
Wow, I didn't know
outside
that.
music playing in 2 different places.
I didn't know that. No, some of the other complaints, the music transition definitely could be better. So, like, if you're playing in an area where there's a boombox, as you walk away, it kind of fades out, but I don't feel like it fades out in the correct amount of space. Like, you could be literally right next to it, and it's, like, already fading out, and it's like, what? You know, like, I want to be able to hear that song within, a very specific range, and it doesn't seem like it holds true to whatever range you have it on. And the music is louder depending on which way you face the boombox.
Well,
so, like,
makes
if you have
sense.
the boombox faced towards the camera view, it's louder than if you have it faced away, which I guess makes sense in a reality sort of world, but it just makes it annoying. Like the DJ, I want to use the DJ with it turned around so you can see the CDs in the back, but it's quieter doing it that way.
It is really frustrating because I have an outside seating area for my bar, and yeah, I have it's a cafe, but you have like cafe music playing in the background. It doesn't reach very far out.
Yeah.
So like you won't hear that music till you've walked into the seating area a little bit more.
Yeah.
And like you would kind of want to hear it as you're walking by, like you would at like if you're walking outside,
Sure,
like
yeah.
downtown somewhere and there's music playing.
Well, and then the background music volume is way too loud. And you can't change it. You can't change the level of the background music. And I feel like that's a normal function for most video games nowadays, is to have a menu and you can turn down your sound effects, which I feel like sound effects would fall under the boomboxes sitting on the ground. So you could turn down your sound effects, or you could turn down your music, your background music. And if you were to do that, it would make your boomboxes sound louder. And I would like that so much. But no, there's no... And some of the background music songs can be very annoying.
Repetitive. Well, yeah.
And then there are some, like the 5 a.m. song, which is amazing.
But who's up at 5 a.m.?
And,
You can't do anything
you
at 5 a.m.
can't do nothing, but yet that song is great. Lori was telling me that she would play at 5 a.m. all day long if stuff was open.
New Leaf used to have ordinances where you could change it so that, because sometimes
In this part of the island, or this...
No. It used to be that you could set up your island for like the night owls so that stuff stayed open later,
Right.
Or the gardener or something like that, where everyone planted flowers all the time. Like that was nice.
I was going to talk to you about that, because I specifically remember that you could shift stuff so that if you play more at night, like then everything will open later, but then it'll be open longer and later into the day.
Which would be a point for Nintendo if they had incorporated in this, if they wanted us to play.
Luckily,
every
Kaylee,
day.
Luckily, Nintendo listens to this podcast, right, Nintendo?
Oh, good.
And so if there's anything we say, they just listen and they do it. Nintendo doesn't listen to anybody, so...
Does anyone even listen to this podcast?
That's a great question. I'm going to say probably
Drop a
not.
comment and let us know.
Let us know. Speaking of comments, people who are listening to this live will, after I close the audio portion of the podcast, we'll sit and we'll chat about any questions or stuff that you bring up, and we'll talk. If there's anything, yeah. But yeah, music. That's really my biggest complaints. Those topics right there. Otherwise, a lot of it's really good.
They did get extra songs, which was really nice. The extra KK songs.
Right, yeah. And everything is like doubled. Did you know that?
Doubled.
Okay, and I'll tell you this, and you'll be like, oh, right, yeah. Well, okay, so KK Slider has, like, so many songs, and you can actually buy the CDs for each song, and then you can throw them in your boombox, and you can play whatever song you want. The songs play random on your radio, and that's kind of how you can find out about certain songs and request them from KK when he's in your town, and then he gives you that CD. There's certain songs that you can only get from KK. Otherwise,
Right.
a lot of them you can get in Nook, in the Nook exchange miles, whatever. Anyway, so there's all these songs that you can get from KK, and if you request a song from KK Slider, he will play that song. However, he plays a live version of that song.
Oh, yes.
So it's almost like having two of the exact same song. However, it's played a little bit differently because some of them, it has a lot of music to it, where they make the KK live songs a little more acoustic and a little more, authentic to a live experience, which I really appreciate. I thought that was fun.
New Leaf had it so that you could go into the... It was like the comedian. You remember the comedian?
Yes.
They used to have
The, squid guy.
He was an axolotl.
I didn't know how to pronounce that.
They had their own specific venue that he would play at. It was like a little rave, and you could dance at it. I miss that.
That's how you got your
expressions.
Your expressions, yeah.
And it's fine that they did expressions the way they've done them, but I think it would be an awesome idea to have like a venue that you could specifically use to make whatever you want, but like on Saturdays it has to be the DJ version of the venue you've set up, and on comedy night it has to be this.
Fun. I think it would be fun to allow you to... I think it would be neat if they kind of incorporated the Happy Home Designer concept into this, where, the animals can come and say, oh, hey, I need some help organizing my space. And then you have full range to all of their items, and you can place them however you want. I think that would be great. I think
the animals don't visit my house anymore, which is kind of nice because it was annoying, but they don't visit at all anymore.
I can't say I've ever... I think I've seen it like early in the game where they would show up, but yeah, I can't say that I remember seeing them in my house either.
The only thing that I know...
She's talking about you.
Oh, that's me. The only thing I can remember about incorporating from Happy Home Designer is the way that you can go into the edit screen to move stuff around in your house. Which is nice. That is really nice. Where it removes your character completely so you can move stuff around.
And you can really move. And you can see exactly where things are. Where, like, the terraforming, when you're outside terraforming, you have no idea what tile you're choosing. And that's really annoying. They really should have...
an island editor mode
when
you're completely...
Well, not necessarily, but like when you're in terraforming mode, you should be able to have like a spot on the ground highlighted so that you know which spot you're about to affect. Where otherwise, you're just kind of swinging the thing around randomly and you have no idea where it's going to end up.
For me...
It's such a pain.
I have troubles... It's like, I would like to play around with it before I commit, and like, you have to keep rebuilding and tearing down and all that stuff, and it's a lot of trial and error.
You almost need like, what do they call that? A save state.
Yeah.
Where like you could save a state and then do your thing and then revert it if you need to.
It's kind of like the house. Like, you can walk around and move stuff like how Lori is in the screen, where she's walking around terraforming, walking around. But then in the house, I think it should have the option to go into an actual edit mode where it does not save until you've saved it.
Yeah.
Or otherwise you could back out and be like, no, I don't agree to these changes.
Yeah, I would like that too. Anyway, music.
Oh my gosh, I know, we could sit all day on gameplay.
That's just how it goes.
I liked the music. I thought it deserved an 8. It wasn't that special to me.
Really? I thought every song was super catchy.
Songs are great. Not all of them, though. I don't know.
Well,
I only liked like 3 or 4
of the songs.
Yeah.
Outside of the songs, think about the sound effects, because this category goes under the sound effects too. And for me, like, Lori's illustrating the waterfalls. The waterfalls are so loud. They're so loud. And if you walk by them, it's just like all you can hear is waterfalls. But otherwise, all the bugs have different sounds, and sometimes that's the only way that you can actually catch the bug is by listening to their sound and trying to dig them up. But yeah, like a lot of the bugs have unique sounds to them. The villagers, they do their normal like talk,
Well, it's not like
but
they have voice acting or anything.
right, no, they don't.
It's not like, I guess if I were to score this 10 out of 10, the music would have to just blow me away. And it's not that it doesn't, it's fine, it's pleasant, but sometimes it gets repetitive.
I think from my point of view, I really like a lot of the KK songs. Like I really like a lot of the KK songs. But I guess from my point of view, my scoring was more in the variety of sound
Sure.
and songs as a whole, not just because like even some of the items make sounds and music, and you can like the piano you can walk up to and ding 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 ding, and it like does a little chime
I mean, it
tone
did it
thing.
in the last game too, though.
Sure, but I mean for this game alone, it's neat
Well-
that they included all of these sounds that
I suppose. I see what you're saying. I'm pretty okay with my...
No, I'm not.
My
I'm not
8 out of
trying
10.
to persuade you.
I don't know. I understand why you think it deserves a 9 out of 10.
Sure.
I think it deserves an 8.
Okay.
Now we know.
That's settled then. Kaylee wants to give it an 8.
Disagree. No, I'm just joking.
No, but yeah, I gave it a 9. You gave it an 8.
Fair.
It's fair. It's fair.
They're close. L Beans.
Yeah, a lot of her villagers name
I
call
like
it L Beans.
the nickname system. I think that's cute.
I like a lot of the stuff in this game. I think is really cute. We could sit and just watch Lori play.
Yeah.
And now Lori is looking at presents. Oh,
Cartoonist set. Mom's
So-
pen stand.
Wait, what?
Mom didn't send me one.
And we have the same mom. So overall, I really did enjoy playing the game. Oh, I did want to tell the story. So I wasn't planning on even playing this game. I wasn't at all. Like
We weren't even sure it was gonna make it into a podcast.
Well, I kind of was playing around with the idea of Lori just doing the podcast with you because I wasn't planning on playing the game. But I took it to work a couple days because Lori was playing like at night, and then I would take it to work and play during lunch at work, and I would play for like just an hour, and I played an hour here, and then another day I'd play another hour, and then another day I'd play another hour, and then I started going home and playing a couple hours, and Lori needed the game. So it kind of got to the point where, okay, I need to just buy my own game since I'm going to be playing it all the time. Next thing I know, I've got, 50 some hours roped into it, and I've built up my house, and man, I wasn't planning on enjoying this game at all. I just was gonna
sucks you in.
I was gonna just have a character on Lori's island and just kind of experience it with her, but then it turned out to be a lot of fun, and then I just played it on my own. So yeah, I wasn't even really planning on playing this game, but here I am reviewing it.
So would you give it overall?
Overall, I gave it an 8 out of 10. It was a lot of fun. It did put me to sleep a lot. Once you get to that point where you have kind of completed all of the tasks and you have KK Slider, it gets boring.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of self-motivating from that point on. Like, you have no goal other than just keep going. And I don't like that as a goal. It has helped me to want to stream it because now that I'm interested in streaming, I have a new direction that I'm going. And, like, I'm building my town to be themed, and, well, Lori's doing most of the work. But we're building the town to be themed. I'm going to be, playing and streaming at the same time, interacting with new people, so I'm really excited about that idea. And so it's kind of given me new life into the game. But otherwise, it can be super boring, but that's not, like, it's not hindering it a whole lot.
I loved this game, left a lot to be desired. I
Yeah.
hate to compare it to New Leaf, but New Leaf was a completed game, and I didn't get a complete game.
And that's really it too. I mean, maybe in another year this game will be comparable to New Leaf, but right now the way it is, you absolutely can tell that they have plans of doing things that isn't released yet, and it just leaves stuff left unsaid.
It almost seems lazy.
Yeah.
Like, we want your $50 now. We haven't finished the game.
Yeah.
I know that's super disrespectful because I'm sure that's not what they intended, but that's how it feels.
Well, see, what they're doing is they're trying to keep it relevant for as long as possible.
I guess.
Because the longer they keep it relevant, the more likely you are to have your friend the more likely we are to review it and maybe try and get our audience to come in and play the game.
Okay. If that's the case, which I realize if it's about relevance, they're going to drag it on. I think it's going to be dragging on for too long.
Yep.
But what they should have done was incorporate the stuff that got lost from City Folk and some of the other things and find a way to incorporate it into this game.
Oh, they will.
Like the poodle doing the hairstyles.
They want it to be a big deal. That's what it is. They want the stuff that's standard in the original or in the older games. The stuff that was standard then, they want it to be a big deal now. And, some of us are fooled, which is fine. If you really, oh my gosh, the update can do swimming now. Have you heard of such a thing? That's great. But but you could before, and it was missing, and now you're just bringing it back and making it a big deal, and it's not. But that said, as is, it's not a terrible game.
No, I'm still playing it. I still
great.
enjoy it.
Right, yeah, of course. And it's fun for Lori's customizing houses, which is another cool thing that you can do.
Which you could do in the last one, too.
What?
Sorry.
You can change your house.
It's the new thing in this game.
So, people who are listening to this audio only, after we've streamed it and after we've posted the video, you can go to our YouTube channel and you can watch it live, where you can see Lori playing in the background, which is what we're referring to. So I just wanted to bring that up in case you're like, what are they talking about? Yeah, that's what it is.
You can see stuff?
Let me just flex here.
Oh, jeez. 31 million bells. That is insane. Wow.
She's chiming. Because her bells.
So another cool thing that I kind of wanted to talk about is an overall, Nookazon is a thing because of how this game is played. And it's really neat, and it's also kind of sad, because Nookazon, what Nookazon is, in case you don't know, basically you can list items for sale that you have in your game, and you can sell them for Nook Miles tickets, or you can sell them as a trade, or you can sell them as bells, or you can take offers. It's kind of like a gambit of all sorts of things, but it's all in game. I mean, I'm sure some people are actually paying money for these things, but it's all in game. That keeps it fair for everyone. And granted, some villagers are worth thousands of bells, or millions of bells, or thousands of tickets, or that kind of stuff. But I mean, it still gives you an opportunity to, if you really want this one villager or this one item or whatever, you can just go on there and find somebody selling it.
Or if you're playing day by day like you're supposed to, God bless you.
I know. But the sad part is it's kind of lost its, okay, so Raymond is like the big villager.
Well,
like everyone wants Raymond, right? Well,
everybody loves Raymond.
and ramen.
And ramen.
But if you now if you have him, it's like, oh wow, at one point you must have had, 70 million bells. Like, great, that's cool. Instead of this shiny concept, right? Like the Pokemon shinies, where it's like, ooh, I worked really hard and shiny hunted for this shiny Pokemon, and here I have it now. Where Nookazon kind of removed that exclusivity to it and made it seem more like, It kind of removes some of the fun of hunting for those things.
It's kind of like cheat codes.
Yeah, essentially.
I think Nookazon is great if, for me, I really wanted the Ironwood DIY.
And for the life of you, just couldn't get it.
And it's hard because you only get... you can get DIYs throughout the day, but really it's limited, so you would have to keep going day by day, and
Right.
you would get several duplicates, and it's frustrating. So this is a good alternative, especially for the people who get duplicates of, like, I would have the same ironwood dresser, like, well, someone else probably is getting the same ironwood bed.
Yeah.
Like, at least we can make a trade. It's nice seeing the community come together, though. I'm
Right,
glad.
but now it's kind of turning into people have what they want and no one's selling anything. So if you want a very specific villager, you're going to have to sit and wait and wait and wait until someone lists it randomly. You know,
Yeah.
double-edged sword there. And really that's kind of the trend now, that people are kind of starting to go back to work, even though I have a feeling it won't be for long. But you know, once COVID is kind of dropped off and people are kind of going back to their normal routines, the gameplay is going to drop too. And as people stop playing the game, more people are going to not want to play the game. Like, a lot of people probably play because they enjoy interacting with other people. Like, I really like it when, you know, we all get together and we do the bug hunts or the fishing, you know, tournaments or whatever. And it's really fun to do that. But like, if half of us stopped playing, then it's like, oh, well,
Yeah.
it was fun when it was, you know, the thing, and now it's not so much anymore. Kind of like just, I don't know, everything, I guess.
Which kind of highlights the fact, though, that we should have a whole honkin' game when we buy the expensive game and we get the base package.
Yeah, because think of it this way. If Nintendo had a very specific update plan, and halfway through that update plan, people aren't interested anymore and people aren't downloading updates, then the you know, 100,000 people that are still playing aren't going to get any more updates because Nintendo doesn't see it relevant anymore. How sad is that? You know, you may get through the majority of the year, but maybe, you know, the beginning of next year, people don't care and they stop doing updates. Then you're out. You're out the rest of the game that Nintendo may have plans for, but you don't get them because it's not relevant anymore. It sucks. It's stupid. It's stupid. Well, anything else you want to talk about?
We could go on all day
I
about
know.
some of the stuff that
Yeah, I know.
I'm upset about.
Well, that brings my total score to a 42.
That brings mine to a 40.
Okay, so that's 82 out of 100. That's a B. It's a B minus, but it's a B-ish.
It's a high B.
No, it's a low B.
Sorry, it's a high B minus.
It's a high B
It's a
minus,
B.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
really a B.
Yeah, it is.
Which is fair.
Yeah, absolutely. It really could use some work, but apparently it's still in progress, so...
A lot of people are playing and enjoying this game, so...
Yeah. And that's...
It's still a good game,
And that's-
regardless of all the complaints we have. It's just they created a better game, in my opinion, earlier.
Yeah.
It's just with newer equipment and
It
hardware.
really does look great. And, you know, for the most part, it plays pretty good, too. What is Isabel doing outside? Oh, the fireworks. Wait, what is Isabel doing outside? That's not right. So I am planning on streaming some Animal Crossing. We have villager hunts that we're going to be doing. I have a very specific theme for my village that I'm going to be hunting for. So, you know, if that's something you guys are interested in, make sure you're following us on ZapNight.com. Make sure you're following us on all of our social media so you know when we go live. We're also going to be doing some island tours at some point. So, I mean, you've already seen most of Lori's island now, but she's always doing new stuff. So we'll be doing like official island tours eventually within August. We're going to be doing an island tour for you if you want to.
I gotta work my island.
We actually, at one point, we were talking about building like a little podcast room to
I
have.
started. I gotta finish.
Oh, well, maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll do it for Zap Chats. That's
There
what
you
we'll
go.
do.
Yeah.
we also want to do maybe some bug offs and some fishing tournaments and stuff too. That would be a lot of fun if we could get, a handful of people that are hanging out in our Twitch chats and stuff that maybe want to be part of that. That would be a lot of fun. So our next game is going to be Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, like we talked about. After just a full disclosure for people who are just Animal Crossing fans,
Hi.
and that may be watching on Twitch or listening to this later, we don't just do Animal Crossing. We are going to be playing Animal Crossing and streaming quite a bit of it through the next month, but we don't just do Animal Crossing. We do a whole slew of video games. We are always playing something new. What we do is we play games from beginning to end. We play them, we beat them, we review them. And that's what we do. And so we're always playing something new. We're always, trying to beat the game to its best. I mean, from my point of view, in Animal Crossing, you don't really beat it necessarily. You do get credits when you do the KK slider thing, so technically you beat it then. But, it's never really beat. However, I feel like we put in quite a bit of hours into this game, enough to be able to review it adequately. I mean, really, we've all had it since the game was released. So we've been playing it really ever since, more or less. But yeah, so we're not always going to be playing Animal Crossing. I'm sorry if you're a huge fan of Animal Crossing and really just that's all you want to watch. But we will be streaming a lot more stuff. We have Final Fantasy games that we're planning on streaming soon. Final Fantasy VIII coming up. There's a lot of other games that we've already streamed. You can check out the ZapNight Plays YouTube channel, where we have all of our streamed gameplay over there. All of Pokemon Diamond for me is over there. All of, the past Final Fantasy games that we've played. So there's a bunch of stuff that you can check out. Otherwise, our ZapNightGaming YouTube channel, it's just youtube.com/ZapNightGaming. You can check out all of our previous podcast episodes, as well as a handful of extra goodies. We have thrift shop games. We have, I've condensed, and I'm working on more games, but I've condensed Resident Evil 1, all of the gameplay videos. I condensed those into just a very short series, so you can get the best of me struggling, essentially, is what it boils down to. But yeah, so if that sounds interesting at all, make sure you check us out. Make sure you subscribe while you're there. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you, and make sure you subscribe because it really does help us out. Yeah, so what did you do?
I was gonna take a picture of Coco on the jungle gym.
Oh, and then she got down. Aww. So yeah, guys, thanks again for listening. Everybody in Twitch, hang out after we close and we'll talk to you guys. But yeah, thank you all for listening to this podcast episode, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Okay. All right. So, Twitch, hang on. I'm gonna stop the recording. Hang on.
Well, you
Stop.
don't want to record all their shenanigans?
We don't need to record shenanigans.
I wanted to record shenanigans.
So I'm gonna open this up and no one will have been chatting. Oh no, there's been a few people.
I can't see over the mic.
DB has been on. Jinx, are you still in? How's it going, guys? I see three people are watching. I don't know who all that is. Probably one is Lori and one is me. Oh man. So yeah, this is gonna just go straight to YouTube. I hope that people watching this on YouTube are entertained by our craziness. We're not planning on doing this all the time. Like, this was just kind of a specialty thing that we whipped together.
Also, it was a pain in the butt to set
It was
up.
a pain in the butt to set up.
I could not help at all because there's not enough
Like,
room.
this is actually our game room. Like, this is a green screen that's set up so it just kind of looks like,
It looks like in the picture that I could just reach back, but it's really far back there.
it looks to me, yeah, there you go. It looks to me like, the whole background as a whole is green screen. Like, it's all, like, the stuff on the ends are, like, fake. the stuff like on the ends
Yeah.
are fake.
It
But it's
looks
not.
like,
That's my full
like
game room.
you took a picture of your game room and just put it in the background.
That's what it looks like. Yeah, yeah. And Lori, thank you so much for giving us video to be entertained by. I enjoyed it because most of the time it was relevant to what we were talking about.
I was really trying.
Yeah, I know.
I noticed she was doing.
She said
did a
that she
really
was
good job.
trying really hard. Hopefully the mics sound okay. We don't typically use the podcast mics for
streaming.
so that's a little bit different than what we normally do. We normally have a different mic that we use, which I give or take, it can sound better or it can sound worse depending on what we're doing. The podcast mics definitely sound really good, but they're kind of a pain in the butt to set up, which is why we have something else. So,
Yeah.
all right, well, there's nobody on Twitch, so yeah, we'll take
What's
off.
Facebook up to?
Yeah, it's both. See, you can
Oh,
see
I
the
see, yep.
yeah, Facebook and Twitch, they're different.
They're different.
They're different. All right, well, we're gonna take off, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. I know I've already said it, but sincerely, I thank you, and we'll see you guys later.